All right, hi everyone. Welcome to the pilot episode of a Healthy Public Podcast. And I have two interesting, amazing guests with me here today. I have Madam Roselyne Uduma. I hope I got the pronunciation right. She always corrects me anytime I don't get it right.
Uduma.
And I also have Mrs. Nkechinyere Maku. Now, these are both seasoned public health experts, both by field work and also by is the word theology by book. One Roselyne is a master's degree student in public health with a lot of field experience. Mrs. Nkechinyere is a public health student is a PhD student in public health. So that tells you everything you need to know. Someone a friend of mine once said, you don't argue with somebody who's doing a PhD. You cannot win such an argument. So, very glad to have you guys here. And today we'll be talking majorly on a topic that is not really covered much, which majorly has to do with reproductive health. Madam Nkechinyere, her PhD has a major focus on reproductive health, and there's been a very special focus on the girl child. And Roselyne has a lot of field experience working with children, girl child, boy child. And so we have this interesting thoughts on if the boy child is being marginalized when it comes to reproductive health, because a lot of things that go into reproductive health seem to focus more on the girl child. So is that how it's supposed to be? Or is the boy child being made to miss out on certain things because he is the boy child? So we just want to look into that really, really quickly and see what comes out of that. But first of all, I think a good place to start would be let's get to hear how reproductive health is viewed from the lens of Roselyne and Mrs. Nkechi. So I think Roselyne, Mrs. Nkechi, you can go first. Why not? How do you see
Okay, thank you.
reproductive health? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Henshaw, for having me.
Thank you.
Um, let me just point out the issue of being, it looks as if I'm focused on the girl child.
Yeah,
My my research was on female adolescents,
yeah,
you know, but in real life, I have three boys. I'm a mother of three boys.
yes.
So So while I was carrying out my research, my children kept on peeping in to see what I was doing. And at a point, they asked me, well, when are you going to do a research on boys? That strikes something in me that all over the news, radio, wherever you go, you only hear about the girl child. What about the boy child? So that brings me to reproductive health for boys. First of all, what is reproductive health? Reproductive health, I'll first of all say what is not before what it
Yes.
is. Reproductive health is not just about sex and sex education, okay? Reproductive health is the complete physical, mental, and social well-being as it relates to our reproductive
Mm.
health.
Complete
Now,
physical,
if we look at,
mental, and social.
yes,
Yeah.
in the area of reproductive health, because these reproductive health issues, if you look deep into it, it affects our physical, it affects our social, our mental well-being. If anything happens to our reproductive system, it's going to affect these other areas.
Yeah.
So that's why the definition is so. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. It really what really caught my ear there is physical and social. So reproductive health can also be seen as a social question. Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. So how
yeah.
about you, Roselyne? What do you think? Do I call you Roselyne or Rose?
Okay, so I'm Roselyne, but it's fine. So first, there's reproductive and there's health. So I'm going to start with the definition of health, right? So, health is the state of physical, social, mental well-being of anyone, right? So when you're now bringing the reproductive into it, so reproductive health is now a state of physical, mental, social well-being of a person in relation to the reproductive system. It functions and everything that concerns the person. So I think it encompasses the overall health of reproductive organs, overall health of, as Madam Nkechinyere stated, of the person's active activeness in sexual activity. It encompasses all that. So it's also we also talk about the mental state of the person, right? In relation to because if someone is if a person is mentally stable or mentally healthy rather, the person will be able to make better choices on his or her health, reproductive health, better choices on his or her. So a person with social health, right, would be able to make better choices, make better sexual choices, and so on and so forth. So so it encompasses
all
the thing that we know.
Amazing. The next question I would like to ask, this is something that's all over the world. People have this question, and I think here would be a good place to answer it. When is a good time to start having the conversation about reproductive health with a young person? When is a good time to do that? What do you think? What do you think, Roselyne?
Okay, so when is a good time, right? For a young person, we don't, as early as for me, right? I feel as early as the child is able to speak and talk, but it also depends on the message being passed. You don't just, you don't teach a master student a PhD topic or trick PhD question to a master student, because you know that. Sorry?
It would be like you're running too fast.
Exactly, right. So you at each point, I believe that from the basics, from ashes, from 5, 6, a male or a female, you can start asking, because with the way the world is going right now, if you don't start talking about it, it is being spoken about. If you don't start talking about it, right, you're going to hear it outside. The child will hear it outside, and you would hear it. A 4-year-old person, someone was telling me of something that happened over time, and I was like, wow, so this is what it's about. Young kids, two boys rather, I think 7 and 4, that the other one, the older one is trying to was molesting a 4-year-old.
Wow.
A 7-year-old was molesting the 4-year-old. So now you're wondering, what did the 7-year, where is he learning it from? How? What does he know that he wants to insert in this person? So because he has heard it from either his books, he has learned it from his classmates, from somewhere we cannot see, even from stories, because most of the content being created now either focus on sexuality or something else, which are still great content, right? But if you don't if you don't have a goal where you're going to, you can be distracted. So that's why from 4-year-old you start passing out messages. Not you're giving out full messages, but asking questions, having conversations with the child, making the child feel free to ask you questions, and not shutting down the child's inquisitiveness, because you'll be like, oh, she's too inquisitive. No, don't ask. Why are you asking me that question? Where did you get it from? So I think from 4, because we will say that, oh, when the child comes from when she's of age or puberty age. That was then, but now
different
before
world.
puberty age, things have happened. So from like 4-year-old, you can start having conversations. But prior to that, let that child feel comfortable to tell you anything. So as a mother, as a guardian, as a sister, anyone, you know that, oh, this boy or this girl can comfortably ask questions and just tell me anything they want to tell me.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. And that leads us even to the next aspect. Do we think our society is too conservative, or maybe on the flip side, too open? But majorly, do we feel our society is too conservative when it comes to reproductive health questions? I think let me throw that to Mrs. Nkechinyere.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. I think it depends on the region or the culture. In this part of the world, our culture and religion comes to play a lot in terms of when we're talking about reproductive health. For instance, if you go to the north, they are very conservative in terms of their culture. You don't really talk about such things in the open. But for well built up cities like Lagos State, Port Harcourt, Abuja, such places, you see that the issue of being conservative about this does not come to play, in the sense that just walking on the street, you see things that connote reproductive health, things that connote, you know, children being exposed to reproductive issues. Let me put it that way. Yeah, I'll cite an example. One day I was bringing back my children from school, and as we were driving into our residential area, there is a hotel, you know, and they put up a banner of sexual content. I'm like, when I saw it, I was driving. I was like, what do I do? And luckily, I looked back. My children were fast asleep.
No.
That's what saved me that day. So in some cities, they don't care
Yeah.
whether children are on the streets, are walking past. They just put it out there.
Yeah.
And in this age and time, our of technology, the
Yes.
TV, whichever way you turn. So bottom line, for some societies or some communities, they still maintain that conservative nature, and for some, they don't.
Yeah. So I think I think that should be a research topic for somebody somewhere in a postgraduate or maybe undergraduate. Why is it that the bigger cities are more open to such things than in smaller cities? I mean, we may find out something very interesting there. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for that, Madam. So I think we can let's throw this as an open question. I'd love to hear what you both think about this. Let's pick your brains on this matter. So I'm just going to say it straight now. Do we think that the boy child is being marginalized when it comes to reproductive health? For me, I think yes.
Yeah, I do agree with you that the boy child is being marginalized, because I just cited an example, about when I was carrying out my research on female adolescent, and here
Yes.
am I being mother of three boys, and they had to ask me that question: when am I going to do research on adolescent boys? And it clicked something inside of me. That aside, let's look at from the UN.
Yeah.
There's an office dedicated to UN women, and by extension, they carry out projects related
Yeah.
to the female child, the girl child, but nothing is being done for the for
Boy
the
child.
boy boy child. It's just
Okay.
lately it's springing up here and there, and believe it or not, the boy child, the male adolescent, they do have reproductive health issues too. They do have questions. They have questions to ask. They experience body changes. They experience these secondary sexual characteristics that is happening to their body, and they want to know what's going on. And in most of our societies, it's only the girl child, menstrual health, blah blah blah. Nothing is being
about the boy
taught
child.
yes, about the boy child, to say, oh, when you reach this age of puberty, you're going to experience this and that and that and that, and create awareness for the boy child, and mentor them, in issues as regards their reproductive health, and the lifestyle associated with
It
it.
goes from there.
Yeah,
That's very true,
yeah,
because we have to avoid the education coming from the wrong sources. Because when it comes from the
exactly.
wrong sources, it leads to a lot of risks. Even not even
Yes.
just for the male child, for both male and female child, it leads to a lot
Of
of things
female
that,
child.
yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of risks. And so while this is a very good way, I would like to wonder, since we agree that a lot of people are being left out, especially the male children, how what do we think is how can we help as public health experts now? Our major ground is solutions. We focus on solutions. Public health is majorly focused on solutions, how to solve problems in healthcare and make for a better world with more health, physically, mentally, socially, more well-being. So I think Roselyne would be a good person to give us a head start with this question, because Roselyne, you are on the field very much. You do a lot of field work when it comes to public health. You work with a lot of NGOs in areas that have to do with those aspects. How, with your everyday activities, all the things you see, what do you think is a good way we can help solve this? Maybe reduce marginalization and also just create better solutions in reproductive health, especially for the kids.
Okay, so first, right? If you don't know, you don't know. That's the thing. If you don't know that the boy child is marginalized, you don't know.
Yeah.
So first, I believe awareness should be done from the grassroots, because even our fathers, even there are some things that you would do or you want to express as a boy. If you tell someone, they'll be like, Nama, you been a chester. Or you cannot. I've heard of stories, right, of people of my male, not really my male friends. I mean, rather, I've heard of stories. People told me of people that were either molested, boy child, when they were children and all that, and they could not speak out because it was a thing of, if you tell your fellow friend, they'll tell you, you don't become man now. But that is evil to start with. So one, there should be more awareness. Awareness should be done. Awareness on awareness, same way there's awareness on sexual hygiene for female and so on and so forth. There should also be that for the boys.
Yes.
Also, there should be involvement of fathers in. So there's that I remember I work with, or I volunteer with an NGO, right? One of the NGOs, and yeah, we deal with kids. As you stated, we deal with kids. But what we try to also do is, when we're having sessions, we try to ensure that we have male mentors. Try to ensure that these male mentors come in and also mentor the boy child, the children that are male. So we try to ensure that they come in and they are visible, because when we have conversations with these kids, most of them, their parents or their fathers are absent. I won't fault, because I don't want to point finger and say, oh, they're looking for one and other. But their parents are absent. Their fathers are absent. There is no presence of, and when you hear these kids talk, you just know that these ones have gone far.
Yeah.
It's just God that is holding them back. So we try to ensure that, okay, there is the presence of the male figure in their life and someone that would help shape their thought process. Because if there is no awareness, if there's no inclusiveness, inclusive education, inclusiveness of teaching, even down to the educational sector, because there's so much noise about the girl child, the day of the girl child, Women's Day, Mother's Day. Beautiful. I'm a girl, right? But at the same time, if there should be, when there is the day of the boy child or Men's Day or something, let the programs or events that should happen that day be focused on the boy child, focused on creating value for the boy child, encourage emotional intelligence, promote positive male roles, because most times boys or men are moved by, they don't really listen, right? They learn from what they see you do. And notice that if they see you do this, they understand better.
Yeah.
Than you telling them, don't do that thing. Don't do that thing. If you tell them, they're like, they won't be just shouting. But if they see you do this over time, you find out that they're just doing it by themselves. They learn from watching positivity. They learn from watching people do this. So if they're in a beautiful home, they are in a godly home, or they are seeing positivity around them, they tend to pick it up faster than you telling them, oh, don't steal, don't lie, don't do this. It's not going to be helpful. So if there's also if it's, as I said, as far from awareness, if it can also start with us reorienting our minds, our thought process on, because there is already a bad stereotype of what a boy should do or who a boy should be. And if we can first change our thought process towards the boy child, it's not just about talking. Yes, we have a few persons that know that, oh, the boy child should be included in activity, the boy child should be, because whether we like it or not, if the world is a dangerous place if the boy child is totally ignored.
Very true.
So there'll be cases of rape, there'll be cases of things, and they'll get away with it.
Yeah.
Right. Not because but because it's a man's world. Yeah.
This
is a man's world. But if the man's world is a dangerous place, if the men that are there are dangerous, it becomes dangerous to the women. So even if you're shouting, go girl, learn feminism, or sexual hygiene, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
If the people that are meant to protect you are having a very skewed thought, they're having biased thought and all that, your efforts will just be in vain.
You enter into a danger zone that way without knowing.
Sorry?
It leads to a danger zone in society.
Exactly, without knowing. So if I'm not saying we don't shift up, because most times the girl children are majorly survivors of so many things, right? But at the same time, if you can treat the grassroots, okay, where is this coming from? You're talking about, oh, the girl child, she's a rape survivor and all that. Fine, okay. Who raped her? The boy. Why would he wake up to rape her? Because from his grassroots, his environment is already destroyed. He's already damaged. He has seen something that is not right. He has learned something that is not right. And he has carried that thought over time. Issues of domestic violence. Who beat the girl? The boy. What happened? His environment supported that. His environment encouraged him and cheered him on that. And he felt, okay.
I'm so sorry, but there are also cases of female domestic violence on men too. Not to disagree, like that's also real.
No, I'm coming to that. There are cases of female domestic violence on male, but I believe that for every action that everybody does, it's tied to the environment.
Yes.
If you want a child, if you give birth to a child today, I want a child to have a positive mindset and all that. Start speaking to that child from small. Start imbibing values, virtues, and so on. You realize that the child will grow up healthy. Same way with terrorists. if they want to, how would they psych your mind to want to voluntarily bomb yourself for no reason? Who wants to die? But from small, they gather kids and they train them to think in that direction. So both the boy and the girl child, yes, needs to be trained, needs to be encouraged and all that. But if there is no balance, just like swinging the pendulum, there's no balance and all that, you might just be putting the load in one side and the whole effort to just be damaged or to just be fruitless at the end of the day.
Thank you so much for that. That's a very, very interesting perspective to things. What you are saying now shows that there may be a more deeper rooted problem than the problem that society thinks is the deeper rooted problem. So that actually opens doors for a whole different conversation entirely, that's amazing. So one final question, and since we agree that a mindset shift is needed, a balance needs to be created, then I think a good final question to ask in one sentence maximum, one sentence or two sentences maximum, and this is open for everyone. How do you think we can create that balance? We agree that parents should, society as a whole, community, teachers, they all play a role in guiding both the male and the female child to avoid a lack of equilibrium. So in one sentence each, how do we think we can create that balance? Just one sentence.
Yeah, I would like to say that in the area of creating the balance, every time or each time the opportunity comes for awareness creation or any workshop or seminar concerning one gender, the other gender should be involved. Yes. Yes, please. That way they'll get to know, this other gender experienced this, so if I'm dealing with this gender, example, if I'm a guy and I'm dealing with a girl, you need to understand their reproductive makeup, menstrual health issues, and that will, make them be in their shoes, empathy, to feel for what this girl child is experiencing. And the reverse is the case for the boy child too. So that girls, the boy child is a human being and has sexual or reproductive health issues too.
Yes. Amazing. How about you, Roselyne? I love that. How about you? One sentence.
Sorry, your question is how do you find a balance?
Balance, yes. And Madam Nkechi talked about health education, health promotion that should go on both sides.
Yes.
I totally agree with her. I totally agree everything she has said on the boy child, like having the education simultaneously so that everybody will be aware of who and what is going on in each other's life. So empathy can
come in from education.
Can come in.
Yeah.
I totally agree with her. And I also agree. I also would say that if there can also be more awareness, more awareness on social media pages, more awareness on different, so it's not just as, even if they can also be for NGOs that are focused on the boy child, they are few, they are very scarce. Right, they are very scarce.
Society.
So if they can come up and just decide to
focus on those things,
to focus on these things, right? It can go a long way, so that it's not. I know that everybody looking for funding and so on. So where you
start I know
programmatically and all that. What will pay more? What would But at the same time, we need health for all is.
Yes.
Yeah. So because it's health for one, health for all. So you are not just thinking about one person, you're thinking about for the whole general population.
Amazing.
So if one population is healthy and the other population is not healthy,
there is no
achieve public health.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So if you are thinking of starting an NGO in that direction, don't wait for funding. Definitely get started. Do something. Passion is very important. And once we create a balance, we agree that the best way to create a balance is health education, health promotion, using social media, attending events, conferences, things that talk about that area. And that way, we can build empathy on both sides. So automatically, the balance would create itself in such a case. That is what should happen with that. Thank you both so much. If you'd like to connect with Roselyne or Mrs. Nkechi on LinkedIn, I would drop the LinkedIn handles for both of them on the description, so you can comment on, you can talk to them, have discussions with them, and link up for projects as well if you are in the public health sector. So thank you so much and have a lovely day.